Gaming Bolt presents 15 most powerful weapons in Dark Souls 3. Some of you are probably still chipping away at Dark Souls 3, while others are on their second or third run of From Software's latest masterpiece. There are some pretty impressive weapons to discover regardless of your progress. Not every weapon is best suited for every single build, but if you're a fan of a particular weapon type or of the more exotic ways to cause damage, then it's worth checking out these 15 weapons. Uchigatana. One of the best weapons in Dark Souls 3 can be gained in the first half hour or so of playing. The Uchigatana is a swift katana that drops from the Swordmaster to the left of the Firelink Shrine's entrance. Along with the ability to parry into strong blows and executing a fast lunge, the Uchigatana allows you to inflict bleeding damage if you strike enough times. It's pretty devastating, especially for PvP. SELLSWORD TWINBLADES. Though the SELLSWORD TWINBLADES are a starting weapon for the mercenary class, they may be overlooked by players in favor of other stats. However, they come highly recommended for rogues and thieves with the high damage and scaling up to B-class dexterity. That's not to mention the strings of combos that can be executed to keep enemies off their game. It can be found in the Road of Sacrifices in the castle walls and past the Black Knight. Dark Sword. The Dark Sword has the potential to be a favorite amongst many players. Though it's a straight sword, it can use the Greatsword's stomp weapon art to transition into a low stance and then upward striking slash. It scales amazingly well, suits many situations, and comes off highly recommended for strength builds. Grab it off of the Dark Wraiths and Farron's Keep after defeating the Abyss Watchers. Murakamo. The Murakamo is a curved greatsword that requires a high amount of dexterity and strength to wield. You can find it in the BITHYLL dungeon where it drops from Alva, Seeker of the Spurned. What makes it so awesome? Why, its signature ability allows you to spin in a circular motion like Link and then eventually move to a crushing heavy blow. Find a good crowd of mobs and go to town. HEYSEL Pick. With 100 critical and a 60 spell buff, the HEYSEL Pick is one of the more unique melee weapons in the game. Not only can it fight from close up, but it's capable of casting spells, making it quite the weapon to use during invasions. You can find the HEYSEL Pick either as a reward from the Rosaria's Fingers Covenant, or by invading Leonard's world later in the story, after finishing off Aldrich, and helping Rosaria. ARSTOR'S Spear. Unique among the spears in Dark Souls 3 is ARSTOR'S Spear, which can be obtained as a trade reward for the soul of the Cursed Rotted Greatwood and 1k souls. Along with a pretty decent moveset, ARSTOR'S Spear is capable of poisoning enemies. You wouldn't think that a long-reaching spear is the best tool in that scenario, but you'd be wrong. Barbed Straight Sword. The Barbed Straight Sword is a unique weapon for its ability to break an enemy's guard to then transition into an upward slash, which can then induce bleeding. It can be infused and buffed, making it even deadlier in the process. If you're not a fan of the Uchigatana, then pick up the Barbed Straight Sword from the Dark Spirit Longfinger Kirk in the Cathedral of the Deep. Irithyll Straight Sword. In the Undead Settlement, you'll encounter a Frosty Outrider Knight who drops the Irithyll Straight Sword. This weapon not only features a high attack speed and base damage, but can cause frostbite in your foes. Sure, it can be buffed or infused and requires Twinkling Titanite to upgrade, but it's still an excellent weapon that will perfectly service you through the game. Deep Battle Axe. After meeting the Dragon of the High Wall of Lothric, you'll venture into an area just beneath his fire-breathing self that holds a Mimic. Defeat the Mimic and it may drop a Deep Battle Axe for you. Far from being a starting weapon for the warrior class, the Deep Battle Axe has been infused with a Deep Gem. There's also its skill, which allows you to boost your attack and stun enemies close by. It comes highly recommended for how easy it is to get. ZWEIHANDER. The ZWEIHANDER will probably be the first Ultra Greatsword that players get their hands on, and it can be buffed and infused. This will essentially be your introduction to the hard-hitting blows that make Ultra Greatswords so great, but you'll have to work for it. Find Greyrat in the Undead Settlement and have him head back to the Firelink Shrine. Hand him a Loretta's Bone and then buy the ZWEIHANDER off him for 6k souls. Crystal Sage's Rapier. Pyromancers and sorcerers take note. The Crystal Sage's Rapier is for you. With a high intelligence stat right off the bat and without infusion, the Crystal Sage's Rapier is also worthwhile for its high item discovery status. This comes in handy for fighting better loot as you go along. If that weren't enough, its attack speed and damage match up quite well to other rapiers with upgrades. Dragon Slayer Great Axe. Remember Cirrus? If you complete a questline that involves saving her from an invader, followed up by defeating the same invader in Irithyll Valley by yourself, you'll receive the Dragon Slayer's Axe. Aside from being Kraken's Great Axe in Dark Souls 2, the Dragon Slayer Great Axe comes imbued with the power of lightning. It can be infused, buffed, and reinforced with Titanite, but just make sure you haven't killed the Pontiff before helping Cirrus. FUME Ultra Greatsword. It may have received a nerf, but the FUME Ultra Greatsword is still one of the most powerful weapons in Dark Souls 3. Along with breaking through enemy shields, its weapon art is a heavy smash that can ruin enemies. Did we mention it looks awesome? Head to the Smoldering Lake and defeat Night Slayer Tsorig to make the FUME Ultra Greatsword yours. Twin Princess's Greatsword. Talk about work. The Twin Princess's Greatsword requires New Game Plus and the souls of the Twin Princes. Transpose it with the Ludleth once you get Lorien's Greatsword or Lorien's Holy Sword. In your New Game Plus playthrough, get another soul of the Twin Princes and use it to pick up the other sword on transposition. You'll then have the option to transpose the Twin Prince's Greatsword, and it's actually pretty cool. Its weapon art activates a light holy lunge while its heavy attack is sweeping vertical slash of fire. That's not counting its high damage values. Chaos Blade. The Untended Graves past Asero's chambers hides an intriguing weapon in the Chaos Blade. Much like the Uchigatana, the Chaos Blade lets you parry into a strong attack or lunge forward quickly with a light attack. However, for every hit you land, you take 15 damage. The benefit of using the Chaos Blade then? Its bleeding effects outperform any other katana in the game. We hope you've enjoyed this video, so please consider subscribing to our channel. We do original content, reviews, graphics comparison, and much more, and try to upload a video every day. Thank you very much for checking us out.